America's Diehard Fan Show. About to get it popping today. Um, man, it's a lot of stuff to cover, but I'm gonna go ahead and just shoot y'all down with the game on the NBA All Star Game as far as the best of the best. Uh, the All Star Weekend overall, in my opinion, um, Friday and Saturday were decent. Um, dunk contest was great. 3 point shootout was all right. Um, I want to see more shooters in the 3 point shootout. You know, first round guy puts up a 31, and then after that, the 20s. But shout out to Dane Lil for finally getting that win in that game. It was about time that he got a win. Um, he's been in it 3, 4 years in a row. Finally won the thing. Um, but I thought that was pretty cool. Now that skills challenge, mixed reviews. I got mixed reviews on that skills challenge. I think it'll be better if we put actually skilled players in the thing. And the rooks, man, the fact that they couldn't make but the 1 point shot a couple of times, a few times maybe, couldn't hit other shots. Um, Made it kind of rough as far as the skills challenge, but that dunk contest, G Leaguer Mac McClung, everybody been talking about it. He did his thing, but I'm gonna be real. Um, it's kind of disappointing that the superstars don't step up. John Morant was dunking like crazy in the beginning of the All Star game, showing off his skills. But won't he show them skills off in the dunk competition? Have real people dunking, have real people playing. Um, it's kind of crazy that I've been saying it the whole time. The NBA make their bread and butter off fans, but they don't want to show up for the fans. These stars don't want to show up for the fans. Like we don't count. Like what's up with that? Like put on a show. I admire Giannis for going out there on the All Star game with the hurt wrist. At least getting it kicked off and then taking himself immediately out of the game. I know he got a championship run to think about, so that's respectable. But you know, um, to look at the game when nobody. I mean, the beginning, the first quarter, I was like, man, all they gonna do is just let each other just go back and forth and dunk. I mean, what kind of game is this? Um, and I heard somebody say that perhaps we grown folks overlooking it and it's more of a spectacle for the kids. Um, is that what we really want to see in competitive in competitive arenas? You're supposed to compete and there's no competition. I mean, that's the only knock I got against the All Star game. I think everything's great. I also heard that it's becoming more of a global thing where the NBA is a global brand, so I can understand. I wasn't really wild, and really wasn't disappointed either. At the halftime music selections and stuff like that, I think it's a great showcase that everybody get a chance to see their favorite acts and stuff like that. I mean, I commend the NBA for even wanting to put on a show, but the All Star game got to change. Just like I feel like the Pro Bowl got to change. I mean, they switched the Pro Bowl, the NFL Pro Bowl, to a flag football competition. But I think, in my opinion, you might as well involve the fans if you're gonna go flag football. Like put a couple of let a couple of fans win and play alongside their favorite players or something. I think it'll spice it a little bit. I think to help those games out. You know, what up with it, Jerry? I can see you. What up with it? But I think overall that All Star weekend it needs some work. It needs some work. I'm kind of disappointed that the superstars don't really show up like they used to and show out. I remember, like I remember AI clowning in that game. I remember Kobe clowning in the game. Don't want to go back. Magic and Isaiah, they would be running up and down. They would be putting on a show. Like really entertaining the people. Putting a little defense. Ain't nothing wrong with blocking a shot every now and then or tightening up. I saw some steals, on some lazy passes and things like that, but you don't really see the defensive effort. I ain't say go all out, but I'm saying like at least make it competitive to where it's watchable and understandable. I mean, 99. I think the halftime score was like 99 and 92 or something. Like no D. Um, And I know Jason Tatum it's always a good moment when you the MVP of anything, but being an MVP of an All-Star game like that is kind of, I don't know where it ranks. It probably ranks higher to him, but I don't know. Just to a fan, it's like I wouldn't even wanted that as far as that All-Star MVP thing, where it was no competition. Nobody really stepped up to defend. Nobody really got in the way, and the game just wasn't all that. Now the dunk competition. I thought the two Murphy and McClung, I thought those two really came out, put on the show. But what was Kenyon Martin Jr. doing? What was Kmart Jr. doing? He bring his daddy out with the black ball. I'm thinking, oh, it's about to go down. It's about to be a show. He brought that out just to do that, man. I mean, really. I mean, those that saw it, it was like, come on, man. Like for real, you broke out the fancy ball. You brought your daddy out. Your pops out there with you, and that's what you do. um, I don't know. I was, checking out first formation. They were talking about what does the slow motion help some of the dunks out, and can you really get a picture of different things? But I mean, slow motion or not, some of those dunks, it was like, all right, whatever. But in my opinion, McClung deserved a 50 on every one of his dunks. And I think it was Lisa Leslie that slighted him, getting a 50 on every one of his dunks. And I don't know. I would like to know why she didn't give him a 50 on the one dunk or whatever. But all I know is the young man stole the show as far as coming out and showcasing his skills, which, that's cool and all. Like I said, I want to see the Ja Morant. Zion said if he was healthy, he'll participate. That's what we want to see. We want to see our favorite stars out there doing their thing because it's called All-Star Weekend. No knock against Mac McClung. I think he took advantage of the opportunity, and I hope he gets to defend it next year. Hope he make a roster. Get to live out his NBA dream. But at the same time, if I'm supposed to be one of the best of the best, I gotta find it kind of deflating that a guy from the G League came and showed us up. Like that's got to be a crazy moment. But I did like the priceless look on Murphy's face when he knew he lost that competition. Like when he saw it was over. I mean, the look on his face was like, "Whoa, I got to go back to the drawing board. I got to come with some more heat. I got to come with some more flavor on my dunks." I think it was good having Carmelo in the building since it was in Utah. And I don't know how many times we go celebrate LeBron James for breaking that record for breaking Kareem's record in this one season is my question. They did it the one night that he broke it. Did at the Lakers' next home game, he gave a whole speech or whatever he did. And then at the All-Star game, they brought out Kareem, which was cool. They brought out Carmelo, and they had LeBron in the middle at the top. But then it's like, man, how many times are we gonna celebrate this? Are you guys gonna focus on a championship? Those are have the NBA. Yeah, they act like a career decision. Yeah, they do. They act like it's crazy. They act like it's they don't compete. Like I heard it said that LeBron didn't come 1 year, and then he felt like he wasn't a good enough dunker. But at the same time, man, the fans just want to see you show up and show out. Like whatever dunk. I mean, LeBron James is the star. His star has been. He would pop all of the veracity and the tenacity of which you into. I think um, it's got to be better. And yeah, celebration, man. Like it's over, man. You did it. We understand. It's one of those things of they trying to do away with the whole MJ still the GOAT myth and put LeBron on that mantle. I mean, it's clear that that's where they want LeBron on that mantle. But those are let some things slide. We can't let certain stuff escape us as far as um, my man Trey on First Formation was saying, what's so big about championships? Why is it so huge about rings? Because that's the ultimate team accomplishment. And if you're a superstar on any team, the expectations is that you can help elevate your team to that level and at least get there. And LeBron's been to many. I think he's been to 10. But his whole thing is, in order to be the greatest of all time, we need you to not only get there sometimes, but win and be bigger. I mean, you want to be looked at in the same light, and you want to call yourself the greatest, uh, but you fall short sometimes. I mean, I've said it, and I'm gonna say it. This is gonna be my last time saying this on the show, and I promise. The biggest problem that I've ever had with LeBron is not showing up in particular moments when the lights was the brightest and not taking advantage. Come on, I'm no hate for the Dallas Mavericks getting the championship, but no way he should have lost to Dirk Nowitzki and a bunch of old guys at the particular time. And that's just my opinion. You in your prime, you bringing it. You got D Wade, you got Chris Bosh, you got a roster of young hungry cats, and you go out there and you lose to J Kidd. You know, yeah, Michael Jordan is no doubt the GOAT. J Kidd, Jason Terry. Uh, you lose to Dirk Nowitzki. Everybody, you got to think, Dirk Nowitzki was getting beat by everybody. Like, except for that year that they won when they swept the full 2-row. Going for the three. Kobe them fell off, and but other than that, the Mavericks. Come on, man. Like Dirk Nowitzki wouldn't have got a championship on anybody else's watch. I don't think. We saw that when he played D Wade back in the days with Shaq. D Wade just dominated that game, and that's what we've been expecting for LeBron James. I think in a lot of times, just dominate, man. Like you, the most dominant thing out there, just dominate. Take over the game when you should. Those kinds of things. Stop talking about you made the greatest play. It's like, yo, um, that's been my problem with Chris Paul too. Other than him not being available at certain times, him being hurt at certain times. It's like when it's time to really show what you got, you really don't do it. It's like they can shut you down, and that leads me into the NBA best of the best. I was thinking about some of the greatest NBA teams I've seen. Um, of course, you got the 72-10 Chicago Bulls. I think that's the best team ever. You had the 73-9 Golden State Warriors, but they didn't win the chip though. They didn't win the chip 73-9. I mean, I don't know. But then you had the Lakers Showtime. I really want to say the 88. I want to say the 88 squad. 80, yeah, it was the 88 squad that I really uh the kid watching that was like some of the most amazing. I mean, they was running through the league and they was just putting on a show. Um, that's a great team. The 86 Celtics. Now they were a great team, but the way that they play ball though, man. I mean, for the young people that don't know what I'm talking about, you just got to go look it up. You just got to see that my hometown Houston Rockets had a good chance of beating them, but hey, come on, it is what it is. Mikael went for Hakeem's head, man, because they couldn't stop Hakeem the Dream, man. They couldn't stop that dude. That dude was unstoppable. I mean, I don't know what happened to Ralph Sampson. He just disappeared when it was really time to do the thing. Hit a luck shot to get him there, or whatever, to take the Lakers out anyway. Hit a shot, to get to that point, and to get to that point, it looked like Hakeem was just going to dominate, and the Rocket was going to win. And then look it up. I ain't making this up. Then Bill pulls that cheap shot thing, and next thing you know, they brawling, and then Hakeem got to sit out of game, and then the series is over. I mean, the series is over when you take. I mean, but it had to be done, and you could say, well, Hakeem had to learn how to control himself and this, that, whatever. But you know how much the game has changed. Now you can't clothesline a bruh and it be called a personal foul or whatever. But 72-10, to me, that's the best team. The Golden State Warriors, like I said, 73-9. But I actually think when that first year that they got Kevin Durant, that was a team that was unstoppable. Like they could have ran through the league. They could have just destroyed everybody, hands down. Once Kevin Durant got on that team, you already coming to two of the best 3-point shooters, and now you got a pure shooter from mid range, from anywhere. That team, I like that Golden State Warriors team. Um, of course, you could pick any six of the Chicago Bull teams, but the 72-10. The other teams that I like, I also like. They didn't wow you with the abilities or whatever like that, but the Boston Celtics victory when they got that, it was impressive. For me, it was impressive because Kevin Garnett finally all the blood, sweat, and tears that he spent in Minnesota, man, he finally went on and he got somewhere where he could just ball out. Like, playing alongside Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, the best of the best to me. Ray Allen was one of the greatest shooters I ever seen. I mean, Steph is that dude now and has been for the past decade or whatever. Like Steph is there, but Ray Allen, and before Ray Allen, to me, it was like Reggie Miller. It's been some great shooters in the game, but Ray Allen was that guy that you say, man, you put him on the right team. Remember when it was Ray Allen, Big Dog, Glenn Robinson, and Sam Cassell in Milwaukee, and they was a decent team, but they just couldn't get over the hump. Um, you know, Now that Laker team, Shaq and Kobe, they did the whole three-peat thing with the Robert Ory. Early on they had the Rick Fox, the Ron Harpers. They had a squad. A lot of people say Phil Jackson couldn't coach without all that. Man, you never know. I'm looking at Greg Popovich, and it looked like you could say the same for him. He can't coach without these major players on his team or whatever, because, I talked about that last week. They don't look that great. But the best of the best, sometimes, I like Chuck Daly as a coach for the Detroit Pistons. I thought, I think he let his team play a little rough, but that was within the rules of the game, so you can't complain there. And a lot of people don't like Isaiah Thomas when you start talking, because of his dispute with Magic, the fallout with Magic, or then the fallout with Michael Jordan. But I'm going to say this. Dude was a great leader, showed great fortitude. I actually like the Detroit Pistons, the bad boy era. They got a two-piece out the deal. So, I really like some of those runs. But ranking greatest teams, man, football, me, the greatest football team, I probably, besides what the Patriots started doing to the league, I got to give it to, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Now, they were real good when they were good, but I got to give it to the Joe Montana led San Francisco 49ers. And like I said, as a kid, just watching and being in awe of this little, Joe Montana didn't really ever look that big, not even on TV, but the way he could move in that pocket, and then the weapons that he had, Roger Craig running with those high knees in the backfield, man. Like, they had some players, and a player that was always in my rated because the great Jerry Rice played on the other side of him. That John Taylor, man. Taylor was a good receiver, man. You had number 80 on one side, and don't forget you had number 82, man, playing his behind off, man. Like, but they had great offensive line. Ronnie Lott on, they had a good defense, but when you say Ronnie Lott was back there at safety, great stuff, man. So many Hall of Famers came out of those years, and and then the Hall of Fame coach Bill Walsh. I know John Madden is that guy because of his knowledge, but Bill Walsh, man, the reason why you have a West Coast offense, his offense was, anytime anybody implements an offense and everybody runs with it, it's sort of like what's Wade Phillips' daddy, Bomb Phillips, and Rex Ryan, daddy, Buddy Ryan, man. The 4-6 defense that he had for the Chicago Bears, For those that don't know what I'm talking about, the 4 down linemen, the six linebackers and things like, being so innovative and being so ahead of the curve, and those things still play in today's league. But you look at the best of the best. Sometimes you just want to see the best. Like, and another great team that people sleep on. Um, Remember when it was Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark, what's his name, Harrison? The Pittsburgh Steelers had a defense that was out of this world with the Ben Roethlisberger, Santonio Holmes. Yeah. If we talk of defenses, Jerry, yeah, the '85 Bears is the best defense ever. Is them 2000 Ravens, man. Man, 2000 Ravens, them dudes was they was. I ain't gonna say they was as good. Five Bears. I can't remember who was MVP in that 2000. In that 2000 season, man. I think he had like ridiculous 20 tackles or whatever. That dude was hitting everything. That defense, and they didn't even have a good quarterback. Same thing with the Bears, right? They won a Super Bowl without a good quarterback. Like Jim McMahon was not that good. Now he was marketable. He was marketable and stuff like that. But when we start talking the best of the best, look at how much the game has changed these days. When you start talking football, let's talk quarterbacks. Nowadays, your quarterback is expected to throw ridiculously high percentage. It wasn't always like that. If you look at some of the Hall of Fame quarterbacks that's in there, they barely probably had 60%, things like that, 62% and stuff. Now it's so outrageous. You expected to put up all these numbers. I don't know where the shift came, but that's what they expected. It's been so much talk about who's the best quarterback. We know Mahomes is up there, until the GOAT retired. So Mahomes is the next person up. But then you look at who's coming up. Aaron Rodgers' name has always been mentioned amongst the best. These dudes throw high percentages, 65%. Like Lamar Jackson, outrageous winning percentage, one, when he does play. And two, they say, well, he needs to work on his pocket game. But the dude is highly accurate. Like he completes a high percentage of his passes. He up there in the 5 to 68% range when he completing passes. I mean, what more do you want a guy to do? Get the guy some weapons, and then you will see what that 68% turns into. The Josh Allens, all those dudes. Like, but when did that game become that? For me, Jerry, I think what they're gonna do with him is, I think what they're gonna do with Lamar is, they're gonna pretty much franchise tag him, but and I think they're gonna do it on the exclusive deal, trying to keep him. Because if they do non-exclusive, then the offers come in. But if they do non-exclusive, then that tells you that they was looking at another quarterback anyway, or going a different way. But after listening to the new offensive coordinator speak, Monken or whatever, he wants Lamar. He came there with hopes of coaching Lamar, of being the offensive coordinator for Lamar specifically. So I think they're gonna try to keep him, but they got to get him in the bag. It's all about the bag right now, and they can hackle over numbers or whatever. But for me, not to steal people's words and stuff, but I do agree with what I heard Stephen A. say as far as like give him $200 million for 4 years and make it all guaranteed, and that should suffice. That should suffice. Yeah, I think this is why it's where the league is right now. Whether we like it or not, we as fans, we as spectators, whether we like it or not, the guarantee, that's where it's at. And if you're going to give one guy guaranteed, Russell Wilson got 165 million guaranteed, and you seen what he did. So I think Lamar, I mean, he put up the numbers. He was MVP of the league. I mean, and the Ravens can't win without him. If you can't win without the guy, you might as well pay the guy. That's my whole thought on it, is pay the guy if you can't win without him. You haven't proven that you can win without him. So hey, get a man the guaranteed money. I wouldn't go no higher than 200 million, maybe 210 million guaranteed. Hey, I might even go, if it's me, I might even go as high as 250 million guaranteed with the understanding that eventually we can renegotiate, but at the same time, you know, if he looking for like Patrick Mahomes didn't get all that money guaranteed. What Patrick Mahomes did is stacked his deal where he can go renegotiate and get more. I think that's a smarter play if you plan on playing for a team for a while. Go get more money. Like you can always come back to the number of things. But like I was saying last week, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you're gonna be able to win with Lamar. If the key is winning, now I don't know, but I know filling the seats. I know putting on the show. I know taking your team as far as it can probably go. Lamar is your best option. So pay the man. Um, Move to me, the enemy, man. Go to Washington Commanders, man. I mean, I know you. I know Eric the enemy want to prove himself, but the Washington Commanders, I was like, wow, And here's the funny thing: I think it's a, I think it's a double-edged sword for the enemy. Either that's going to be a jump off for him to finally get a head coaching job, which as in he might replace Ron Rivera if they not well, or it's gonna be one of those things. He can't do it without Andy Reid or this that. Whatever. So, I understand his move by going to a team that was like middle of the pack, not real good, especially from the quarterback position, wasn't real good. The Commanders, you saw they struggled with whatever quarterback they had. So I give the enemy his props for taking on a tough challenge like that, but I just think it's the wrong team. I don't know, man. I would have tried to get down there at Tampa Bay or something. I would have. I mean, I don't know. They got rid of Leftwich. Tampa Bay, they got some receivers. All they need is a quarterback to slide in. I mean, that would have been a move. Um, it was other moves I thought the enemy could have made other than that one, man. But I get it. Take the opportunities as they come. And a lot of times you don't like to see guys make lateral moves, but lateral move in his case might be just the ticket, but it could also be his downfall. It could also be a see, I told you so. I told you it was Andy Reid type thing. It's not, it wasn't Eric the enemy. But we're gonna have to sit back and we're gonna have to see what happens next season. But some of the other moves, they're not questionable. It's just, yeah. I mean, what does it say? Like I've said this a bunch of times, and I like saying it because it's the truth. Bill Belichick don't trust nobody. Now he got what's his name, O'Brien back again or whatever in the fold. Bill O'Brien or whatever his name is. Offensive coordinator, a step up from the other offensive coordinator, from the offensive coordinator that he had last year. The things, whatever he was trying to do, a huge step up. Probably gonna help Mac Jones develop a little bit more. But he always keep like it's a revolving door in New England when it comes to the assistant coaches and stuff like that. Like he just keep recycling the same people. Remember he did the same thing with the Charlie Wise, Romeo Cromwell. He's done that with several. He only trusts a select group of people. It's like he never thinks outside the box. I think that might at some point that's gonna catch up with him. In the next few years or so. Mark my words, that's gonna be his downfall. That's gonna be his little slippage right there. And other stuff like the XFL looks good. But before I get off the NFL, Derek Carr, it wows me. A guy spent 9 years in the league. You know, 9 years in the league, ain't really done nothing. Ain't really took a team nowhere, made the playoffs one time, or whatever. And really hasn't been all that good at all. Don't have no playoff wins or nothing. But all of a sudden, Derek Carr is supposed to be this great choice. All I've been hearing is, oh, he should go to the Jets. Should snatch him up. They shouldn't wait on Aaron Rodgers. They shouldn't do this. Man, if Aaron Rodgers become available, I'm taking him quicker than I'm taking Derek Carr. Hey, I'm not going to even front. If Lamar Jackson become available, I'm taking him before. And if Miami was to make a move towards Lamar Jackson and Tua not satisfied, if I'm the Jets, I'm looking at Tua before I'm looking at this guy, before I'm looking at Derek Carr. I mean, no slight against. Yeah, it is a slight against Derek Carr. He's not high on my list as a fan, as a guy that I'm like, yeah, I just we got to have him on our team. Now, I tell you, it'll be impressive if Derek Carr was to go to the Washington Commanders, hook up with Eric Bieniemy, and become something special. I can't root for any team in that division because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. But what I'm saying is, if he makes them reputable and their offense is clicking, and Derek Carr, they make the playoffs and they do a little something here and there, then I'd be impressed with a Derek Carr or something like that. But I'm not really impressed with the guy, man. I just don't think that he's just that guy. I don't think he's that guy, and I don't think that. I also don't think that any team should go out of their way to try to get him. I heard that the Panthers not going to really try to pursue him as much as they thought that they would recruit him heavily. They don't really want to pursue him. I think the Panthers got their eye. They try to wait to fall out so things and then they go make it. But who do they have wide receiver wise in the Panthers camp that you would really want to go play with? Now, here's the trip. Nobody is mentioning the quarterback situation in Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is a good situation for Garoppolo. If Derek Carr went there with the right offensive coordinator, you got Mike Evans. You just played with Devontae Adams. You going to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You got some good players there, unless Tampa Bay gonna bust it up and they gonna trade. And I said this. If available, or if you're looking for trades, or if we can get anybody. Last week I was talking to DeAndre Hopkins for my Dallas Cowboys. This week I'm gonna say Mike Evans. Man, if we can get, come on, the guy got a Hall of Fame career already, 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So no matter who the quarterback, when they had greatness, when they didn't have greatness, he's still been good. Like, he's still been doing his thing out there. So I think that if we can pull one of those guys, man, to Dallas, and you talking about OBJ. OBJ ain't played in a year, so you don't know what you're gonna get from that situation. I'm not saying the guy wasn't sensational when he was playing, but you don't know what you're gonna get from the situation. So why would you bank on that? Like, OBJ would be cool, but I would have to see him work out. I would have to see some things. Can he still move like he once did? I'm sure the hand's still good, but is he still electric like he was, before he got injured? Because you ain't seen him play in a whole year, so I don't know. Like, rust and all that stuff really makes a difference. Especially when it comes to such a contact sport. The XFL, they put on a great show. Watch them early. I know they got a game tomorrow on a Thursday night. They coming back, but hey, the look I've seen of the XFL look like they bring it, and then they got some rule changes that make it look interesting. The 4th and 15 rule or whatever. You got to make that 4th and 15 in order to keep the ball. I think that's pretty dope. I think the 3-point play or whatever it is, the 3-point extra point, the extra point, 3-point from the 20-yard line or whatever it is. I think that makes the game interesting. Or no, it's a 10-yard line or whatever. You go from the 1, then like the 3, and then the 10 or whatever to add those points. I think that those are some interesting things to have in the game. I like some of the rules that they have. Not saying that I want to see them in the NFL, just saying that it makes the XFL entertaining, and you already seen how it worked early on. In the first week, you seen how that 4th and 15 worked. You seen how the 3-point play works. You've seen it all in one game. So that was pretty, that was impressive. And actually, the XFL, a few people that I've been seeing have said the XFL was actually better than watching the All-Star game. But where would they rank as far as the XFL? You got the USFL going to be starting, spring or whatever, but you got the XFL right now. Where do they rank as far as match comparing with NFL? Well, I'm gonna be the first to say, as a diehard fan of the NFL, I like to see these other leagues and stuff, to keep football going, because I can watch football all year round. But I don't know, it's going to take a while to build up fan bases and to really become household. Even though I recognize some of the players, like the AJ McCarron, it's a few others, but it's like I recognize the chance NFL, the NFL, and the USFL. Kind of like that, and so I think that's pretty good. But what is that? But what is that? Where does that put all these rankings? As far as watchable, and and will it suffice? will it suffice that need for those of us that are diehard football fans? I guess we got to sit back and really see and value on their own merits and their own basis. Because I tried to vibe the USFL its last season or whatever, but um, it was all right. But it's kind of hard to watch when the stands ain't full. Um, it's almost like when basketball was in the bubble with when the pandemic hit and you ain't had no fans in the stands. It was kind of mm, that could make your brand lackluster. So figure out a way to fill the seats, have that atmosphere, the crowd cheering or booing or whatever, and then then you got something to work with. Because don't forget, I'm a diehard fan. My show is based upon fans. You need fans in the stands. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna shout out Fancy Lips Cosmetics right now. If you want organic makeup supplies, check out Fancy Lips Cosmetics. Don't forget Fam Brand for the gear. Thank y'all for y'all support, by the way, and also Nerd Focus Energy Drink. My man Sean Stewart with the energy drink. Nerd Focus, get your brain right in your game. Focus. Moving on as far as the WNBA, Brittany Griner has re-signed with. I think that's a move, but that me to think. Um, after what she's been through, mental health among athletes, I think sometimes is not talked about enough. And sometimes we see it when people's careers are over. You remember Junior Seau, you know, uh, took his own life, committed suicide, get into all kinds of trouble and things like that once they out of the league and stuff. You see so much stuff going on that is crazy. But I think some of the things that we heard about when the NBA was in the bubble, you know, they made Paul George became a joke gimmick and didn't really want to be in the bubble. Those kinds of issues. They're supposed to be able to get over stuff, but some things, like it affects. But I think a lot of times we forget that our athletes are human. So just seeing her dynamic of being back on the court and being able to focus, because I remember her being locked up and them saying that she didn't even want a basketball or try to play because it was too hurtful with the situation she was in. So to be back out there, amongst her teammates, amongst other players, and getting back into that competition, it's a bit interesting thing to watch. It'll be intriguing to see how she bounced back from it, and just how far will the Mercury go? Considering the other teams are getting stacked. But her going back to that roster adds some stack, even though they got some old KG veterans that I think are pretty much hanging on there, saying, I'm going to play another year. Tarasi says she's playing another year, things like that. But it'll be interesting to see what Brittany Griner does. I mean, I'm definitely pulling that she get back out there because, she was dominating one while. She was dominating that league one while. Statistically, she was dominating. She was a force. So hope to get back to that level, that high level playing, and there's no lack there. Also, NHL real quick. Hockey. Not a huge hockey guy, but you got to say when people are chasing history, the Bruins, which probably was the whole premise of my best of the best teams. They chasing the best record ever in hockey. And they on pace to do it. And but can they keep it up? Like, are they going to run through the league like this? And are they going to win? Are they going to win it all when it's all said and done? But it's impressive to see any team in any sport going for records as a team. As a team, it's like the three P's. With the four P, we've seen three P's in basketball. Haven't really seen it in the NFL. You know, but are we ever gonna see a 4P? You haven't really seen it in baseball either. Um, at least not in the modern eras and stuff like that. We know how good the Yankees were back in the days before a lot of us were born or whatever. But you know, um, what about in the like? Is there still room for three peats, four peats? Will you ever see a four peat? That'll be the ultimate accomplishment right there. If you ever four peat, if I see a four peat in any sport, I think it'd be some of the greatest stuff that you ever seen, and that's a team that somehow was able to do it, and especially in the modern era where free agency affects teams, where where players don't like certain things, so they want to come in, and then you always doing things. Now, here's something funny. Here's something funny that I heard, and this is why I say, like, sometimes when you listen to the experts, it's kind of crazy. Going back to the Derek Carr situation just for a second, where I actually heard, expert analysts and stuff like that saying that, well, look at his situation. He's played with six head coaches. In 9 years, he's had six head coaches and, the different offenses and different things like that. Okay, but now he's a free agent and he's going to go to number 7. So what? So are you saying if that was difficult, then now you already laid the groundwork for another excuse of him going to see? That's my thing. So sometimes the arguments are invalid. It's like it doesn't even really make sense when you think about it. It's like, hey, yo, if the guy's worth his salt, then hey, he going to another team, a whole new organization. I get it. You're at one organization, it's a whole shakeup, and you played with six head coaches, and you had to learn different offenses, but do the same now, learn a new offense, no matter where he goes, no matter what team picks him up. I mean, so I don't like that being a part of the argument of what Derek Carr is and what Derek Carr should do. Man, the dude is a starting quarterback. He worthy to be one of 32 on a team. That should be good enough, right? It's only 30 that. Like, I'm not saying he's not a starter. I'm just saying he wouldn't be a starter on a team that I would have that I'm trying to win. It's some teams that just you need that guy while you find the next guy, or you need that guy that could elevate you enough, bring certain things to the locker room or bring certain things to the field that you lack it. I get that happens time in all sports. And now shifting to the NBA, the best the best of the best. I was talking about great teams this year. I don't think it's going to be this year, but next year, probably the Phoenix Suns had a chance to be one of the best teams you ever see the way they constructed right now. And if they can keep that team together moving forward, and I keep hearing, oh, they might add Kyrie in the offseason. If they add Kyrie to that team, then they really, I think they not this year, but moving forward, if they added Kyrie to that mix, of course, because that mean if you added Kyrie, that would mean that you're not worried about Chris Paul. That would mean Chris Paul is either coming off the bench or he's not there no more or whatever. Is all I can see about a whole Chris Paul move. Like they had the rumors that they was trying to package him for Kyrie anyway, when it was just Kyrie before they got Kevin Durant. So if they can bring Kyrie to that team, who will be a free agent after this season, unless he strike a deal with Mavs soon, but bringing him to that team would be crazy. The dynamics, but is Monty Williams the coach for that job? Like, you never know. You have to wait and see. Speaking of coaches, man, Nate McMillan, and I think I said that before when he had the problems with Trae Young, that he was going to probably be out of there at some point. When he had the troubles early on in the season, him and Trae Young, but heads. When you button heads with the star, you're not gonna last, and they underperforming. I mean, I don't like to see nobody really lose their job, but at the same time, man, that you got too much talent on the Atlanta Hawk teams, and the expectations are too high. You can't tease us as fans with, oh, we make it to the finals and then do the things that they've been doing. Like this year, I think they 29-30 right now. They ain't even at 500 right now. A game or two under 500 or something. It's like really underperforming. And then you said they brought in DeJounte Murray. I told y'all that really wasn't going to be a key because Murray been hurt a lot this season, and Trae won't switch his game a little bit. If Trae tweaked his game, I remember this thing, the great Phil Jackson said that he had to sit with Michael Jordan, and he said, hey, if you take 5 less shots a game, and trust your teammates. You'll start winning. You'll win. I promise you, we'll win, and all this other stuff, or however the narrative goes. But at the same time, and at first Mike didn't want to buy into it, but once he bought into it, that team took off. That's what the kind of coach. I hope this interim coach with the Hawks. I hope he can reach out to Trey like that and say, "Hey, man, if you pick and choose your spots, you're a streaky 3-point shooter. But if you pick and choose your spots to shoot that three, and you rely on your teammates, pass the ball a little bit more here and there, play off the ball a little bit, be waiting on that shot. Trust your teammate that they're gonna find you and give you the ball back so you can take that shot, get a better shot. Pass up that shot for a better shot sometimes, then the Hawks will be all right. I think that's the only problem they have. I think that's why they underperform is because your star don't want to shed a rock at the right times. It reminds me of Russell Westbrook, being so headstrong and being so stubborn, and early on and not really getting it. And speaking of Westbrook, going to play for the Clippers, told y'all he going to the Clippers. If you listen to me sometimes, like it's the only fit that makes sense for him right now. The only spot where I feel like he has a chance to be a starter, not coming off the bench, and where I feel like he could be the most effective. And even if he was to come off the bench, because if that don't work, then they can send him to the bench. But I think that we've seen what he can do with Paul George by his side. But now a guy like Kawhi, and Kawhi, what I love about it is Kawhi is not that kind of guy. Everybody knows it's Kawhi's team. But Kawhi not that kind of guy that got to remind. He's just the solid takeover type guy, and he'll slash to the basket and he'll rebound, and Kawhi will do all the dirty work. That's why I like him as a champion. That's why I like him as a player. Is that he's not afraid to do all the dirty work to make a team work. He's down to do whatever makes it work. So I think they're gonna get at Russell Westbrook a shot over the next 20 something games, however many games they got left for the end of the season to prove himself. And if he don't do it quick enough, then he out of there. I mean, you got nothing to lose. And I've been hearing talk of Ty Lue being overrated or being fraud, and just certain people's opinions. Hey man, look, I think Ty Lue is. I thought that early on, but I've seen the job that he's done with the Clippers through all the injuries and keeping them up and going. That's what proved it to me, because anybody can, ride LeBron James' coattail. We've seen it before. A couple of coaches that rode LeBron James' coattail to championship, except for Eric Spoelstra. But a couple of coaches that made their living. Frank Vogel won a championship. You've seen what happened to him. But Ty Lue is able to still have a competitive team, and not to mention, he did something Doc Rivers ain't never do with the Clippers, or no coach had ever done with the Clippers, and got them to the Western Conference Finals. They never been to the Western Conference Finals. That's a team that lived in mediocrity until, the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George did. So you really looking at the dynamics. They had some good years with Doc Rivers, don't get me wrong, the Chris Paul and the Blake Griffin, but they was never this dynamic. I mean, having a chance to win a championship. Nobody ever saw that team, the Griffin and Paul combination. Nobody ever saw them, DeAndre Jordan, nobody ever saw them winning it all. But at the same time, you could say that this team has a chance to win it all if they can stay healthy, they can stay together, and they can learn how to put all those pieces. I mean, they deep, they got power. They got a whole deep roster. Another shout out, Jock Vaughn, man, locking it down there with the Nets, getting a decent extension, saying no more interim, take the interim off. He's the guy. Same thing they did with Missoula last week, and that brings me to, what does that put Udoka? Does Udoka ever get another chance in the NBA? Will a team take a chance on him? We knew the Nets was going to take a chance on him, but, the fallout there, all that stuff happened, and he didn't get a chance. But will Udoka ever get another chance in the NBA? Because I think what we saw, he's a good coach. You don't know how great he was going to be, but he was a good coach. He started off great, But the Celtics. I've talked teams and I've told you guys why I don't think the Celtics, but here it is right here. With what the Celtics went through, is making it to the Eastern Conference Finals going to be good enough this year? Or do they have to go back to the finals and win it? Is anything slight of a championship good enough for the Celtics this year with the way Tatum's balling, the way that whole team's balling, the best team in the NBA? The Nuggets are right there behind, but the best team in the NBA with the Bucks chasing them and stuff like that. Like, is it going to prove to be something special? I mean, I don't know. Are they gonna get over that hump and actually win it all? And if they don't, then what do you do? Then what pieces do they need? In my opinion, I think like no disrespect, but I think when you relying on guys like Al Horford, I don't, I just don't see that as good enough to win it all. I mean, good enough to get you there. Evidently, they got there last year, but you see they fell short, and that's what I'm saying. I think you need some other pieces. No knock against Al Horford, but for the speed of today's game, a little slow for my liking. As far as when you're really trying to do something out there, it's just because he got older. A younger Al Horford maybe, but at the age, and I think that if you're gonna have to rely on him at any point, you're gonna fall short. Playing major minutes. So I would look for reduced minutes. I mean, but I like their squad. They got a good chance. Like the NBA is getting ready to start tomorrow. They're gonna be back on the court tomorrow, and it's really gonna heat up. The West seem like everybody gonna be jockeying for position. You look at um, where the Lakers sit at 13, all the way down. Those teams are only separated from 1 through 13. Well, from 6 through 13, it's not many games. It's only like 4 or 5 games, or maybe 6 games at the most, separating all those teams in between it. It's not a lot of, so it's not a lot of slippage. Teams can't really get on 4 and 5 game losing streaks. You got to start winning. And people expecting the Kings to fall off. Hold your breath on that one. Well, don't hold your breath on that one if I was you, because if you hold your breath, you just might not survive. You know what I'm saying? It just might be over. You go need some oxygen, because I don't see the Kings falling off right now. I think the Kings, whether they stay that high where they are right now, 3 or whatever in position, or whether they shift to 4 or 5, I think they're in the mix. And I think nothing's going to change that, because they playing good team ball. And Mike, like I said before, Mike Brown finally figured it out. Now, a couple of the other things I'm looking at in the NBA, last week I talked about the moves that were made and the players that was picked up. But the biggest thing that I'm looking at is Denver. Can they ever be something other than that organization that always disappoints when it comes down to it? Now, everybody talk Joker already, and talk like the Joker already won his 3rd straight MVP. But if he wins MVP the 3rd time and that team does not make the finals, then what is it all worth? I know the MVP is an individual award and all this other, but no, what has he done to improve the team? I mean, and what the Joker is on pace to have a triple-double for this season, which is impressive within itself, because Russell Westbrook's the only person that's done it for a few seasons in the modern era. You got to go back to Oscar Robertson and stuff like. But man, Joker, he doing this thing. Can he help his team win? I say no, because he lacks on the defensive end. Lateral movement not there, not a shot blocker, no threat on the defensive end. I mean, you saw in the bubble, Anthony Davis dogged him. I mean, call it what you want to call it. He dogged them in the bubble. Like they were in the Western Conference Finals. But is that they still in the Western Conference Finals? It'll be good to see teams like Denver. Man, it'd be good to see teams like Denver or the Clippers. Like if the Clippers ever get to the final, I mean, see, I'm rooting for those teams that ain't really been there, because we've seen the same teams. I mean, but what would be more great? There's some old rivals in the finals, right? Like it's not too far fetched. People pay attention. I don't know. I don't think they're going to get there, but you could see a Lakers Celtics finals, which would be dope in this modern era, because that's gonna be box office. That's gonna sell tickets. That's gonna put people in the seats. That's gonna have everything on fire. Old versus new, pretty much. Well, but how long we gonna say Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, that tandem is young, even though I know by age they are young, but they've been around the block quite a few times. Like they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals a few times already in their younger years. So these guys are vets. I mean, these guys are 5 and 6 year vets in the league. They're not spring chickens, or maybe 6 or 7 years in the league. I don't know, but I'm just saying they've been in the league a while, so it's not like they young no more, man. Like in NBA years, they some vets out there, and they play like some vets. So what I'm looking at is premier matchups. Like I said, I'm rooting for the Clippers. I'm gonna keep that root because I want to see them get one. And Kawhi is like one of my favorites, but the Clippers, is my prediction or is what I'm looking at. But you never know how things are going to turn out. And who knows with the Kevin Love move going to Miami, that might catapult them back into the conversation as being a tougher team. I mean, I know Kevin Love ain't what he used to be, but if he can give them any kind of production, like a 3-point shot, aid what's his name, Bam Adebayo with some rebounds here and there, and also just his savvy and his smarts and his IQ, his NBA IQ. I think it'll make a difference out there. You know, but don't sleep on Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, Donovan Mitchell seems like he on a mission, man. I mean, the guy seems like he's on a mission to turn Cleveland into something special again. They were special and they got a ring out of it. But see, that's what I'm saying. Remember when Cleveland won and how crazy that town was and how crazy that site was, like a team that you never thought, but then they finally won. I mean, those are the things that I'm looking for as a fan. It's cool to say Lakers and Celtics because if they ever meet, then they going, either one of those franchises are going for 18. They both got 17 rings for those that don't know. So that'll be something to talk about. But then, like I said, or even if the Knicks were to stun and come out of nowhere, New York in the finals, and the NBA finals would be huge. They ain't been there in a long time, since 1990 something, 95, 94. I think it's 94. No, since, pardon me, the 99 season. That was a shortened season. I almost forgot about that, but they did go with Latrell Sprewell and Allen Houston. That led, Allen Houston led. They had Marcus Camby. They lost to Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan got his first one. Dave Robinson got his only one. So they were there, but they ain't been there in a long time. It's been 20 plus years since they've been there. So it'll be good to see like something like that, something epic. Even the Atlanta Hawks. That's what I'm saying. The Atlanta Hawks was right there, and they was giving you a threat. Like to see them guys actually make it to a finals. I mean, me this year, I want to see something different. I don't know if we're gonna see anything different. I'm not tired of the Golden State Warriors. It'll be impressive if the Warriors get there again. Whether they win or lose it'll be impressive. I mean, but it looked like it's a long way uphill. It looked like a long incline for the Warriors, the Lakers right now. So it's gonna be interesting to see the second half of the season what the NBA can do, and also a move that nobody really cares about, but I feel like I gotta mention it because I've been riding him a lot, and that's Patrick Beverly going to the Chicago Bulls. I don't think it's going to help them nor hurt them. I think they're going to be where they are because that team is definitely underperformed, and them shutting down Lonzo Ball for the season. He don't even make an attempt to get out there this year. He ain't played since last season, January of 2022. So but I'm pulling for Lonzo Ball, man, a full recovery. But I don't think like I gotta say it since I've been on him all season. I don't think Patrick Beverly going there is really gonna make a huge difference in Chicago. And it's been talks if they don't do nothing this year, blowing that team up. But here's my thing. Guys got to be healthy in order for you to see what they got. So if you're gonna blow it up, then I'm assuming you're gonna either get rid of Levine or you're gonna get rid of DeMar DeRozan. And for me, it would be Levine. I would keep DeRozan and get rid of Levine. Let Levine go somewhere else. I mean, he'll probably be dominant somewhere else. But the interesting part of this season, a couple of things I'm gonna be looking at. The young team, the Orlando Magic, they look like they got a little fire. I mean, they might make a run and they might sneak in at number 10 or something like that and be in the play-in. You never know what's gonna happen. They seem to have a great young nucleus, in my opinion. But the best thing that I'm expecting out of this second half is um, uh, what the Phoenix Suns gonna do when Kevin Durant's healthy, if he's ever gonna be healthy this season. When he plays or whatever. I just want to know how short they gonna fall. Like second round, are they gonna get beat first round, second round, or Western Conference Finals? Because I do think they're gonna get beat. Um, but and like I said, Denver, it'll be cool if the Joker could take Denver somewhere. I mean, that'll be interesting to me. Uh, it'll be a special, like I said, but those teams that really legitimately have a chance right now And don't sleep on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know I've said that they ain't going nowhere because of their dynamic and stuff like that, but I think that if they get a Karl Anthony Towns back healthy, I think they've got to see enough of where Rudy Gobert fits without Karl Anthony Towns that if he comes back, Anthony Edwards could probably propel them to something great. Now that they got rid of D'Angelo Russell, you got one guy off the ball now, so now the ball can really move fluently. I think that if the coach can get them all to play, man, it might be something special. But you never know. I'm looking forward to a great rest of the NBA season. Looking forward to see what else the XFL has in store. Are the games going to still be as competitive moving forward? That's my time right now. Thanks to Sports for America for putting me on. It's yours truly, the People's Coach, Cornelius Cole. Catch y'all next week.